I had just won the Rensselaer Math and Science Award, and so she opened up the book on evidently was going down the A's, and she saw accounting, and she said, "Well, that looks like math."
So you're an accountant because accountancy starts with the letter A?
That's correct. I think that's
I love that so much.
Welcome to the Gies Download, a podcast from the University of Illinois' Gies College of Business. I'm your host, Tim Sinclair, and today we're joined by Lester McKeever, Gies accounting alum, member of the Dean's Business Council, treasurer of the U of I Board of Trustees, and one of the very first black CPAs in history. While his 50-plus year professional career has been incredibly accomplished, Lester's beginnings were, well, humble to say the least.
I grew up in Chicago, went to public schools, both high school and grammar school, Douglas and Wendell Phillips High School. I never thought, neither of my parents, first of all, graduated from high school. So I never thought that I would be going to college. And then a couple of days before I graduated, Mr. and Mrs. Allen J. Beasley came forth and told me that was receiving a $250 scholarship to the college of my choice. So I became very excited, didn't know really what to do, but I went down to the high school counselor to get some advice from them as to what should consider as if I was going to college. And she got out this big book. I had just won the Rensselaer Math and Science Award, and so she opened up the book on evidently was going down the A's, and she saw accounting, and she said, "Well, that looks like math," and so.
So you're an accountant because accountancy starts with the letter A?
That's correct.
I love that so much. Why do you? What was it about you that caused this couple to give you a scholarship to college? That's typically not how it works.
They had a Robert S. Abbott student club, and they were the founders, and I think they were the only two members, but they really supported young people, and I had never met them, never heard of them, and 2 days before graduation, I was told I was receiving a scholarship. So that truly has influenced my life because you never know where help is going to come from. It's going to come from someone you've never met and never knew. So I'm just very gracious about that.
And if your counselor had started at the other end of the book, you'd be a zoologist. What ultimately led you to Illinois? I know you started college in the Chicago area, but ended up downstate.
Evidently, cost influenced me to go to Illinois. It was $75 a semester when I went down Champaign. I don't remember what it was when I graduated from high school and went to the pier, but I went to Illinois, and it was disappointing when they told me that I had to catch the train to Champaign because I thought the train was the L that ran around the city because that was the first time I had ever left the city of Chicago.
It's a different train.
And so I got down to Champaign, and as you might suspect, there was, some racial prejudices down there. We started off living in the PGUs. There was a temporary army barracks that were on campus. But I soon joined the fraternity, the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. I gained solace with my fraternity brothers. But the University of Illinois was just an outstanding experience academically, very challenging. And so I enjoyed it very much. And as you suggested, when I got to graduation, or just before graduation, there were no big eight firms, the then big eight firms that would interview a black person.
They
Oh,
wouldn't even interview, not much less hire. They wouldn't even take an interview.
no. But that's why I really appreciate the University of Illinois because they were so adamant about finding someone to at least give me the courtesy of an interview. And so Arthur Anderson interviewed me and said that they would love to hire me, but their clients just wouldn't accept me.
Now, curiosity begs the question, and you might not know the answer. Do you think that was them kicking the can down the road and blaming the next person in the chain of, hey, we want to look like the good guy, so we would hire you, but our clients wouldn't accept you? Do you think that was legitimate, or do you think that was just their way of skirting the issue?
I think it was both because I think they were skirting the issue for self-preservation because the clients probably really would not have accepted me. I doubt that, and that left a bitter taste in my mouth because all of the big eight firms, all they had to do is hire just one black or African American, and that would have ended. But not being able to get a job with Arthur Anderson may have been fortuitous because I mentioned Alan Beasley. He was a painting contractor, really liked to support young people. And since I couldn't get a job, he hired me to do house painting and everything with him until I found a job. He would let me off at every opportunity for me to go to an interview if one appeared. And
What was the first job? What was the one, not the painting job, but beyond painting, when you finally got into accountancy? What who gave you the first opportunity?
okay, A.W. Williams, a Unity Mutual Life Insurance Company, gave I went and talked to him, and I just talked to him it was an African American insurance company, and I asked him, I said I couldn't get a job, and I was really wanted an opportunity, and I was really working, really willing to almost work for nothing, and so he did hire me. It was $200 a month, and I used the line that. Today, that doesn't sound like very much, but it wasn't very much then either.
How did Illinois, do you think, prepare you specifically for your career? I mean, you could have ended up at any number of institutions and had different professors and a different experience that might have impacted you. And I know it's hard to know something that didn't happen. But when it comes to Illinois, what is it about that experience that prepared you for your career?
University of Illinois has always been an outstanding institution. That's number one. Their accounting program at the time was either one or two in the country. I was really impressed not only by the students but the faculty as well. And so I enjoyed that. And talking about race again, to my remembrance, I know there was only one other black in accounting, James Fields, and I think we may have been the only black in the College of Business. So you didn't have very much company, but I did, as far as the students in the accounting program, they were very friendly, and I didn't have any issues with them. And so the university has been near and dear to my heart because of their insistence, first of all, on getting me an interview. And then secondly, they've given me so many opportunities to continue to have a relationship with the university.
Obviously, since the 50s, when you graduated, some progress has been made, but certainly not all the progress has been made. What do you see as the progress? How have things improved since you were there? And then what do you see as ways that things can still be improved? What are some of those hot button issues that you think, man, if we could just get here, we would be so much farther down the line?
Well, I think the university is trying. Everyone thinks that someone can do better, but I think it's a profession issue. as well as a university issue because there's still less than 1% of Blacks that are CPAs in the United States.
Now, why do you think that? I mean, I'm sure there are lots of reasons, and it's probably deeper than we have time to go into today, but it feels like there have to be some reasons from maybe upbringing to college admissions to the hiring process of CPAs to like where in the chain do you think is the biggest issue for African Americans becoming CPAs? 1% is an astonishingly low number.
They didn't even teach bookkeeping or accounting in high school. So you're getting a pretty late introduction to whatever that might be. So there aren't enough young people where we should be starting in the grammar school to introducing the possibility of being an accountant and a CPA. There's some effort to that. I don't know what's making the Blacks more aware of the potential of like the Illinois CPA Society, I think is doing a good job trying to reach the grammar schools and everything. And we, at least my firm, Washington, Pittman and McKeever, we contributed $100,000 ourselves and went to each of the big four firms, Deloitte, Ernst & Young, Pricewaterhouse, and Peat Maurer. And they each put up $100,000. Then the Illinois CPA Society itself, in their fund, created the Mary T. Washington Opportunity Fund. Mary T. Washington was the founder of our firm, was the first Black female CPA in the country. And so I chose to try and set up this as on her behalf or as her legacy. It's a scholarship, that's how it started. Then it became a mentorship program, and then it became a career development program. And they have a 3-day symposium at the beginning of every year where they invite about 30 or 40. It went up to 40 this past year. Students who were interested in accounting or majoring in accounting to give them a 3-day orientation, helping with writing resumes, helping them with, and 83% of those kids, I think historically now, have gotten an internship or a job right out of that program.
You've been incredibly successful and didn't have to stay connected to the University of Illinois and to the College of Business the way you have been. Why have you been? What is the motivation for you? What is the benefit? Why has that connection remained so strong 50, 60 years later?
The university is that strong. It's such a great institution. College of Gies, now Gies College of Business, continue to be recognized as one of the greatest colleges that you could attend. I think the whole college experience is so important to our society that I'm happy to be closely associated with an institution as great as the University of Illinois.
Obviously, there are lots of good business colleges around the country. One very close to you in Chicago, they're at Northwestern, and there's a long list. What is it that stands out for you that makes Gies special, whether it was from when you were there or the progresses that have been made since, or what you're seeing happening on a day-to-day basis now? What is it that's different there that when people go, they find to be extra special or remarkable?
Historically, the deans that have been in charge of the College of Business have just been outstanding themselves. And more recently, the two most recently, in a way, have led the university in terms of forward thinking, what's really needed to to move not only the College of Business, but to move businesses around the world.
Let's have a little fun and ask a couple more personal questions for you. Do you have a favorite memory from Illinois or a story of your time there that when you think back all those years ago that you like to tell at parties or at least reminisce in your own mind?
The fraternity had some great parties. That was number one. And I was really interested in sports. And so I was an usher. And so I saw a lot of the basketball games, football games, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. And we didn't have such a bad team while, while I was there. I mean, the athletics were pretty strong. It fell off for a period of years after that, but then it's on the surge again.
So you're smart. You figure out how to work in a way that you can see the games for free. And I do the exact same thing, so I could relate.
Right. And on the academic side, I just thought I was in a great environment. That's one thing that I'll always remember. And then the social side were the sports and the parties and everything that we had.
Now, the parties were studying parties, though, right? Like you guys all got together and poured over numbers.
Right.
I know how it works. Beyond becoming an accountant, because it starts with the letter A, is there anything that people would find surprising about you? Maybe not in your professional life, but just so maybe it's a hobby or something you've done or an interest or an accomplishment that most people wouldn't know.
Early years of CPA, I was with Mary T. Washington, as I said, who was the first female uh, African American CPA in the country. I was a little concerned about my future because I wasn't making that much progress. And I had gone to the Army and I had the GI Bill. So 1967, I started law school. And I just to see in case things didn't work out, I might have another option. So started law school, really enjoyed that, graduated with distinction. They asked me to teach 2 courses a year after I graduated, legal accounting and federal income taxes. So I did that. Then one of my clients and friend set up an office for me in his legal firm. Then that same year, I graduated in 1971, we received our first major corporate client, Commonwealth Edison, and we still service all of Exelon Corporation benefit plans for Exelon and all of its affiliates. And so then the firm started to grow. And so I never made the transition to the law, and so never got a chance to become the next Perry Mason. So,
but both a lawyer and an accountant, that's fairly impressive.
really opens a lot of doors as well. I say it's a paper world, so the more paper and credentials you have, so I had never discouraged a kid from just getting as much of an education as he possibly can.
You've mentioned a couple different people, Mary T. Washington and some others. Do you have someone who stands out as being perhaps most influential to you, or a mentor or a leader or someone who you've based some of your life and decisions on?
I've been so many of them. I became the chairman of the Federal Reserve Bank of Chicago. And so I was sitting around the table with Alan Greenspan, just talking about economic policy. All of this is around being a CPA and then add on just the LLD or the legal degree.
Either the best piece of advice you've ever received from someone, or when someone asks you for advice, as they get started in their career, as they're trying to figure out what to do or where to go? What is it that you tell them and share with them that you think others need to hear as well?
I always tell them, remember the common courtesies. Say thank you, do what you say you're going to do, and be on time. Those basic elements. And then I also say that the man who thinks he's arrived has already begun to slip. Those are two things that I try to leave the young people with. They know hard work, and there's no place for mediocrity. So you tell that to them as well. So
I like that. I always say you got to have ability, availability, and humility. Got to be good, you got to be available, and you got to be easy to work with. And if you can do those three things, that'll get you a long way.
Use that as my quote.
Be sure to join us for the next Gies Download. In the meantime, you can learn more about the Gies College of Business at giesbusiness.illinois.edu.